Imagine a world where your mere absence amplifies your presence, where the quiet withdrawal of your energy doesn't diminish your worth, but instead casts a long, intriguing shadow that draws others in. This isn't a trick of manipulation, a shallow game of push and pull. No, this is a profound truth, an unsettling paradox embedded in the very fabric of human psychology, a secret whispered in the silent spaces between connections. We live in an age of relentless availability. Our devices hum with the constant demand for our attention. Our inboxes overflow. Our social feeds scream for engagement. We are conditioned to believe that to be valued, to be respected, we must be perpetually present, always responsive, eternally on. But what if this relentless pursuit of connection is, in fact, eroding the very respect we crave? What if the path to true influence, to genuine esteem, lies not in being everywhere, but in mastering the art of being nowhere? In the depths of this exploration, we will uncover the ancient, primal code that governs human desire and perception. We will delve into the subtle currents that dictate value, not just in markets, but in the intricate dance of human relationships. Prepare to challenge your assumptions, to confront the uncomfortable truths about why some are endlessly pursued, while others, despite their best efforts, remain perpetually undervalued. This is the secret of unavailability, not as a weapon, but as a shield, a compass, and ultimately, a key to reclaiming your power and commanding the respect you inherently deserve. Our modern world, with its glowing screens and instant notifications, has woven a pervasive illusion, the illusion of constant presence. We are told, implicitly and explicitly, that our worth is tied to our responsiveness. A delayed email, an unanswered text, a missed call, each can trigger a ripple of anxiety, a fear of being perceived as disengaged, or worse, irrelevant. This relentless pressure to be always on is not merely a societal trend. It's a psychological burden, a silent thief of our energy and our peace. Consider the professional landscape. The employee who answers emails at midnight. The manager who is always available for a call. The freelancer who never says no to an urgent request. On the surface, they appear dedicated, indispensable. Yet, beneath this veneer of diligence often lies a simmering resentment, a quiet exhaustion. Their constant availability, rather than elevating their status, subtly diminishes it. They become the default, the fallback, the one whose time is perceived as infinitely expandable, and thus infinitely less valuable. Their efforts, though Herculean, are often met not with profound gratitude, but with an expectation that borders on entitlement. The unspoken truth is that what is always available is rarely truly cherished. It becomes part of the background noise, a utility rather than a treasure. Think of the social sphere, the friend who is always there, always ready to drop everything, always the first to offer help. While admirable, this unwavering accessibility can, over time, lead to an unconscious devaluation. Their presence becomes a given, their sacrifices unseen, their boundaries non-existent. They become the emotional dumping ground, the perpetual rescuer. Their own needs often overlooked because, well, they're always there, aren't they? This isn't a judgment of their kindness, but an observation of a harsh psychological reality. When you are always present, your presence loses its weight. It loses its gravity. It loses its power to command genuine respect. Because respect, at its core, often stems from a recognition of value. And value, as we shall see, is inextricably linked to scarcity. This constant state of readiness, this perpetual open door to our time and energy, leads inevitably to burnout. It drains our reserves, blurs our personal and professional lives, and leaves us feeling hollowed out, yet paradoxically, still craving validation from the very people who are inadvertently taking us for granted. We become trapped in a self-perpetuating cycle. The more we give, the less we are valued for it, leading us to give even more in a desperate attempt to regain that elusive respect. But the solution, the true path to reclaiming our worth, lies in a counterintuitive truth. To understand the profound power of unavailability, we must journey into the deeper currents of human psychology, into the primal code that governs our desires and perceptions. This is the principle of scarcity, a force as old as humanity itself, woven into our very survival instincts. From the dawn of time, what was rare was valuable. Food in times of famine, water in the desert, a safe shelter in a storm, their worth was amplified by their limited availability. This isn't merely an economic principle. It's a hardwired psychological response. Our brains are inherently wired to crave what is difficult to obtain, to assign higher value to that which is rare, exclusive, or just beyond our immediate grasp. Think about a limited edition item, a rare collectible, a piece of art, a vintage car. Its inherent utility might be minimal, but its perceived value, its desirability, skyrockets precisely because it is scarce. The human mind, in its intricate complexity, interprets limited access as a sign of inherent worth. If something is not readily available, it must be special, unique, highly sought after. This primal code extends far beyond material possessions. It permeates our social interactions, our relationships, and our perceptions of others. Consider the person who is always busy, always engaged in meaningful pursuits, whose time is clearly finite and precious. Do you not, perhaps unconsciously, assign a higher value to their time, their attention, their presence? When they do offer it, it feels like a privilege, a gift, rather than an expectation. This isn't about being aloof or arrogant. It's about the inherent psychological mechanism that elevates the perceived value of what is not endlessly abundant. Conversely, when something or someone is perpetually available, our minds tend to devalue it. It becomes commonplace, expected, a resource to be drawn upon without much thought or appreciation. This isn't a conscious decision. It's an automatic, almost instinctual response. The constant presence of something diminishes its perceived specialness, its unique allure. It's the paradox of the sun, always there, always giving life, yet often taken for granted until a cloudy day reminds us of its absence. The scarcity principle, in its quiet, pervasive power, dictates that what is freely given, without boundaries, often loses its luster, its magnetic pull. It is a fundamental, often unsettling, truth about human desire. We chase what moves away, and we often neglect what stands still. Understanding the scarcity principle is merely the first step. The true power lies in its application, the art of strategic withdrawal, which is fundamentally about defining and enforcing your boundaries. This is not about playing games or being manipulative. It is about self-respect, self-preservation, and the conscious allocation of your most precious resources, your time, your energy, and your attention. For many, the very idea of saying no or intentionally limiting their availability triggers a deep-seated fear. Fear of rejection, fear of missing out, fear of being perceived as uncooperative or uncaring. We are conditioned from a young age to be agreeable, to accommodate, to prioritize the needs of others. But this constant accommodation, this porousness of boundaries, is precisely what leads to the devaluation of our time and our worth. When you don't define your boundaries, others will define them for you, and almost invariably, they will define them in a way that serves their convenience, not your well-being. Strategic withdrawal means consciously choosing when and where you are available. It means setting clear limits on your responsiveness. This could manifest in various ways. Professionally, designating specific hours for checking emails and calls, rather than being tethered to your inbox 24/7. Declining projects that overextend you, even if they seem appealing, because you understand the cost to your existing commitments and your mental health. It's about communicating your capacity clearly and firmly, rather than silently buckling under the weight of endless demands. Socially, not immediately responding to every text or message, allowing a natural delay, not out of rudeness, but out of a respect for your own time and the understanding that not every communication requires instant gratification. Choosing quality over quantity in your social engagements. Opting for deeper connections with fewer people rather than spreading yourself thin across countless superficial interactions. Personally, protecting your personal time, your moments of solitude, your periods of deep work or creative pursuit. This means turning off notifications, putting your phone away, and creating sacred spaces where you are truly unreachable. This isn't about isolating yourself. It's about cultivating a rich inner life and replenishing your reserves, which ultimately makes your presence more valuable when you do engage. The initial discomfort of setting these boundaries is real. You might encounter resistance, even confusion, from those accustomed to your perpetual availability. But this resistance is often a sign that your boundaries are indeed necessary, that you are challenging an ingrained expectation. Hold firm. Over time, those who truly respect you will adapt. They will learn to value your time, to plan ahead, and to appreciate the moments when you are available, because they know those moments are not limitless. This is the quiet revolution of self-possession, the subtle shift that transforms you from a commodity into a valued resource. When you master the art of strategic unavailability, something profound shifts in how others perceive you. Your absence, rather than creating a void, begins to create an echo, a lingering impression that amplifies your presence when you return. This is the mystery effect in action, a subtle psychological phenomenon where the human mind, confronted with less information, tends to fill in the blanks, often in a way that elevates the perceived status and intrigue of the person in question. Consider the leader who delegates effectively and trusts their team, rather than micromanaging every detail. They are not constantly present in every meeting or every decision. Their strategic absence empowers their team, but it also creates a sense of their authority and importance. When they do step in, their words carry more weight, their decisions more gravity, precisely because they are not diluted by constant intervention. Their presence becomes a signal of significance, a moment of focused attention that commands respect. This is in stark contrast to the leader who is perpetually hovering, whose constant availability can inadvertently signal a lack of trust or an inability to let go, diminishing their own perceived power. Think about the artist who releases new work sparingly, perhaps every few years, rather than churning out content relentlessly. Each new album, each new painting becomes an event. There's anticipation, a sense of occasion, because their output is not a constant stream, but a carefully curated offering. Their unavailability, their deliberate pacing, builds a mystique around their craft, making their creations more coveted, more deeply appreciated. The same principle applies to individuals in any field. The expert whose calendar is booked weeks in advance, the mentor whose advice is sought after because their time is clearly valuable and limited. This isn't about being aloof or unapproachable. It's about cultivating a perception of value and importance. When you are not always available, people begin to value your time more. They will plan ahead, be more concise in their communications, and appreciate the moments you dedicate to them. Respect your boundaries. They learn that your no means no, and that your time is not theirs for the taking. This fosters a healthier dynamic based on mutual respect. Perceive you as more competent and in demand. If your time is limited, it implies you are busy with important things, that you are sought after, that your skills and insights are valuable. This creates a positive feedback loop, drawing more opportunities and respect your way. Become more curious about you. A degree of mystery is inherently intriguing. When you're not an open book, people are more likely to wonder about your activities, your thoughts, your life, which keeps you at the forefront of their minds in a positive, engaging way. The echo of absence is a powerful, silent amplifier of your worth. It transforms your presence from a given into a privilege, and in doing so, commands a level of respect that constant availability can never achieve. Now, a crucial distinction must be made. The power of unavailability, when wielded effectively, is not a tool of manipulation. It is not about playing games, feigning disinterest, or engaging in passive-aggressive ghosting. Such tactics are shallow, unsustainable, and ultimately erode trust rather than building genuine respect. The true art of strategic unavailability stems from a place of authenticity, self-respect, and a clear understanding of your own value and priorities. This is not about being fake or aloof. It is about being genuinely busy, genuinely focused on your own growth, your own projects, your own well-being. When you say no, it should be because your plate is genuinely full, because you have other commitments, or because you are prioritizing your mental and physical health. It's about having a rich enough inner and outer life that you are not constantly waiting for external validation or external demands to fill your time. Consider the difference. Manipulation, pretending to be busy to make someone chase you, even when you have free time. This is a fragile facade that will eventually crumble, revealing insincerity. Authentic unavailability, genuinely being engaged in deep work, personal projects, self-care, or other meaningful pursuits, and therefore having less free time to offer. When you do engage, it's from a place of genuine presence and energy, making the interaction more meaningful. The goal is not to make people think you are valuable. It is to be valuable, and for that value to be recognized through your actions and your boundaries. When you genuinely respect your own time and energy, others will learn to do the same. This authenticity is key. People can sense when you are playing games, and such tactics breed resentment, not respect. But they can also sense when you are truly engaged in your own life, when your time is genuinely precious. And that is what commands admiration. This approach fosters healthier relationships, both personal and professional. When you set clear boundaries, you teach others how to treat you. You communicate that your time is not limitless, that your energy is not infinite, and that you have a life beyond their immediate demands. This clarity, though initially perhaps uncomfortable for some, ultimately leads to more respectful, more intentional interactions. It shifts the dynamic from one of constant demand to one of mutual appreciation. If this exploration resonates with the deeper truths you've felt, if it speaks to the quiet yearning for more respect and autonomy in your life, consider joining our community by subscribing. We delve into the unseen forces that shape our existence, peeling back the layers of societal conditioning to reveal the raw, powerful truths beneath. Despite the clear benefits, embracing strategic unavailability is not without its challenges. The deepest hurdles are often internal, rooted in the unseen chains of societal conditioning and our own psychological vulnerabilities. The fear of disconnection, the fear of being forgotten, the pervasive guilt associated with saying no. These are powerful forces that keep us tethered to the illusion of constant presence. We are, by nature, social creatures. Our survival once depended on tribal belonging, on being part of the collective. To be excluded, to be unavailable, could mean ostracization, even death. While the stakes are no longer so dire, these primal fears linger in our subconscious. We fear that if we are not constantly visible, constantly responsive, we will be overlooked, replaced, or simply cease to matter. This anxiety is amplified by social media, which often presents a curated highlight reel of constant connection and activity, making any personal withdrawal feel like a step into the void. Overcoming these fears requires a conscious, deliberate effort. It's a process of re-education, both for ourselves and for those around us. Acknowledge the discomfort. The first time you let a call go to voicemail, or delay a text response for hours, you might feel a pang of anxiety or guilt. Recognize it, but don't let it dictate your actions. Understand that this discomfort is a sign of breaking old patterns, not a sign that you are doing something wrong. Communicate your boundaries. You don't need to apologize for your boundaries, but you can communicate them clearly and kindly. I'm focusing on deep work until 3 p.m., but I'll get back to you then. I'm taking this evening offline to recharge. This sets expectations and reduces potential misunderstandings. Start small. You don't need to become a hermit overnight. Begin by setting small, manageable boundaries. An hour of no phone time each day. A specific day of the week where you don't check work emails. Declining one non-essential social invitation. Each small victory builds confidence. Reframe your perspective. Instead of viewing unavailability as a loss of connection, see it as an investment in yourself. When you protect your time and energy, you become more present, more effective, and more valuable when you do engage. You are not disconnecting from the world. You are connecting more deeply with yourself. Trust the process. Not everyone will immediately understand or appreciate your new boundaries. Some may even push back. But those who truly value you will adapt. They will learn to respect your choices, and in doing so, their respect for you will deepen. The ones who don't adapt, who continue to demand limitless access, are often the very individuals whose demands were draining you in the first place, and their eventual distance might be a necessary, albeit painful, liberation. Breaking free from these unseen chains is an act of profound self-liberation. It is a declaration that your time, your energy, and your peace are sacred and not endlessly available for consumption. As we draw this exploration to a close, let us reflect on the profound transformation that awaits those who embrace the power of strategic unavailability. This is not merely a tactic for gaining respect. It is a paradigm shift, a fundamental reorientation of your relationship with time, with others, and most importantly, with yourself. When you learn to belong to yourself, as Montaigne suggested, when you master the art of being less available, you unlock a cascade of benefits. Increased respect. People will value your time, your presence, and your contributions more deeply. Your words will carry more weight, your decisions more authority. Greater autonomy. You reclaim control over your schedule, your energy, and your life's direction. You move from being reactive to proactive, from being driven by external demands to being guided by your own purpose. Reduced stress and burnout. By creating boundaries, you protect your mental and emotional well-being, allowing for periods of rest, reflection, and rejuvenation. Deeper connections. Paradoxically, by being less available, your interactions become more intentional, more meaningful. You engage from a place of genuine presence, fostering quality over quantity in your relationships. Enhanced focus and productivity. Dedicated periods of unavailability allow for deep work, creative flow, and concentrated effort, leading to higher quality output and greater achievement. The secret of unavailability is not a secret of absence, but a secret of presence, a presence that is intentional, valued, and deeply respected. It is the understanding that your worth is not measured by how much you give, but by how wisely you choose to give it. You don't lose value by being less available, you define it. You don't diminish your influence, you amplify it. What are your thoughts on the subtle power of absence? Have you experienced the shift in how others perceive you when you set firmer boundaries? Share your insights and experiences in the comments below. Your perspectives add depth to this ongoing exploration of human psychology. And if this journey into the shadows of human nature, into the quiet power of self-possession, has illuminated something within you, a like would be a quiet affirmation of its resonance. Remember, in a world that constantly demands your presence, the greatest act of power and the deepest path to respect might just be the courage to disappear, to belong to yourself, to be truly, profoundly unavailable.